Boom! What's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larsen. Welcome to Sales Funnel Radio. Today I'm going to teach you guys about airplanes.
I've spent the last 4 years learning from the most brilliant marketers today. And now I've left my 9-to-5 to take the plunge and build my $1 million business. The real question is, how will I do it without VC funding or debt, completely from scratch? This podcast is here to give you the answer. Join me and follow along as I learn, apply, and share marketing strategies to grow my online business using only today's best internet sales funnels. My name is Steve Larsen, and welcome to Sales Funnel Radio.
All right. I really don't know that much about airplanes. What was happening is we were coming back from we were going to Hollywood, actually. We came back from Hollywood this last week. So much is going on, I couldn't remember. And we're going to Hollywood. We came back. We were on the flight back. And my brain can't help but just run hard sometimes, and sometimes I don't try to stop it. Okay? So we were sitting. It was one of those airports. It's actually in Burbank. We go to the airport, and we're walking in. We check in, and it was pretty empty. And Viva la TSA pre-check, by the way. Freaking love pre-check. And I was walking through the airport. My shoes were killing me. I hate those shoes. I'll never wear those again. They hurt my feet, though, and we were walking out. And as I'm looking out to the side, the airport was darn near empty. Okay? The airport, it was virtually empty. And as I was walking out, as we were walking out to the actual gate, I was looking out to the side and seeing all these airplanes. Like, well, that's funny. The airport's empty, and all this inventory is sitting right here on the tarmac. And as I sat down, I started building a members area in the terminal there, and I was putting together some cool stuff for OfferLab, and I was sitting there putting things, and I couldn't help but think about it. And I realized as I was watching these airplanes, I remember that I had this teacher in college that was he had to study airplanes a lot and study the models that they got paid with, right? And how much money each airline was losing for every seat that was not filled, and how many seats they needed to have filled just to break even on their costs. And which is really, really fascinating. And I started thinking about the way the airplane's set up. If you look at like ClickFunnels, right, 20-30% of the ClickFunnels users are on the high package, right? Are using the full 297 version, which if you're not, I strongly recommend you to. It is very much worth it. Okay. But it's on the 297 version. That's about 30% of the ClickFunnels user base, which is they have about 70 at the time of recording this, about 70,000 monthly users of ClickFunnels. About 30%, I believe. I know he talked about the numbers publicly recently, so I'm cool to say this. Okay. About 20-30% are actually on the 297. What's funny is that 30% revenues just about the exact same amount as the other 70-80%. You guys hear what I just said? There's a huge lesson in this. What does that have to do with the airplanes? Follow with me for a second, okay? I was sitting there and I was looking out and I started running numbers and I was like, huh. And I started thinking through, okay, these airplanes, okay, have got 20-30% of their capacity is a lot of times for first-class buyers. Okay, and then the rest of everybody else in the back, that's economy, and then there's little tiny upsells here and there. And I started realizing how clever it is to have that kind of pricing tier, right, where there's two separate models. And what I realized, I was looking at thinking about ClickFunnels space, thinking about the airplanes, thinking about my own products, and realizing like, oh my gosh, the same model is true. It's about an 80-20. About 20% take my really, really expensive $35,000 to $50,000 option where they fly to me or I fly to them and we go design everything out, right? Right. And then the rest of everybody else goes and they takes the cheaper stuff, and that's fine. But what's funny is that 80% is almost, right, the 80% in revenue, almost the exact same amount as the other 20% in revenue. If you just listen to what I just said, in having a more expensive option, you actually can double your entire business. Okay. I don't remember what book it was, but it was talking about how you should never have more than, I know there's varying beliefs on this, but you should never have more than 2, maybe 3 pricing options inside your company. It creates overwhelm. Okay. So you have the major price and then the really expensive price. And what's fascinating is that 20% will do just as much in revenue as the other 80% of your customer base. And so I was sitting there and I was thinking about these airplanes, and I was thinking about I was watching them, and I was like, huh. First of all, number one, That's got to be why they have first class right at the front of the plane. It's totally a status thing, which is great. You're going to get the same freaking location as everybody else, like, which is fine. I got nothing against that. I love first class. It's awesome. Okay, but that 20% most likely revenues as hard as the other 80 in the rest of the plane, right? And I was like, whoa, right? I need to make sure that I've got 2 tiers, 2 pricing levels in everything that I'm selling. So go back and do that with your products, right? If you're selling something just straight out, I don't care if it's a book, $7.95. Well, you could have another option, $7.95 or a $21 option, and it's the soft cover and the hard cover, right? This is literally the reason why order bumps and upsells, and they also work. You don't need everyone to buy, and in fact, most aren't. It's only, if you have a 20% uptake rate, okay, on your OTO, on your upsell, that's really freaking high, right? And We'll take these average cart values from this this level and double, triple, quadruple, 10x cart values beyond $7.95 because of upsells. And so I was thinking about, I was looking at this airplane, right? Okay, we got 20% doing just as hard a revenue as the other 80. Okay, then we also have though. Okay, so I was thinking about it, right? I was watching. I was like, can an airline make money when they are maintaining their planes, when they're maintaining the planes, when they're washing it, when they're cleaning it? Does an airline make cash? No. Does the airline, right? And I was watching how the process of getting everybody off, who does what, all the stuff to get people back on, the way they move the plane back super fast, the way they get it in the sky. An airline only makes money when that thing is in the air. Right? That's it. Not preparing to launch, not double checking and triple checking. Those are all important things. But the airline only makes money when that thing is actually in the sky. Okay? What's fascinating is when you compare a plane's time in the air with the amount of time it's on the ground, preparation, maintenance, onboarding, offboarding, all that stuff, right? The safety checks, fueling, the baggage, right? It's not actually in the air nearly as much as it is doing all the other things on the ground. Okay, I'm getting to some very important principles here when you think about this, okay? Keep following me on this, okay? The Army, the military itself, only about 10 to 20% of the Army is actively in combat. It takes 80% of the rest of the force to support the other 20. That's fascinating. If you guys hear my kids on the other side of that door over there, my soundproofing didn't work very well. Okay. Anyway, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Okay. It takes 20%, right? 20% in combat. The other 80% is just there to actually support the 20. Guys, that's what I'm getting at with this. Okay. If your plane does not take off, right? If you don't understand the core of your business, if your plane sits on the tarmac, you will not make money. Okay. Now, it's not likely that you're ever going to keep that thing in the plane 24/7. That's just not feasible. Okay. But the goal is to keep whatever makes you money, the fastest and the hardest and the biggest and the strongest, get it in the air. Just launch. That's the biggest. I sent out a message to the Science of Selling group just a little bit ago, and I know it was a little bit of a joke, but also not. And I said, guys, I'm going to tell this to you guys also right now. Guys, this is the number one way that I have ever seen. It is the fastest path to cash I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay, ever. Across all the hundreds of funnels I've built, right? The millions of dollars they've brought, all the stuff. Guys, you have to understand. Okay, the fastest path to cash I have ever seen in my entire life is this. You have to launch. Okay, that's it. There's the secret. You're like, oh, got you, Steven. I see what you did there. Okay, but I want you to understand, like, you have to launch. Get the plane in the freaking sky. Toss that thing up. Let everyone know, look, my plane's in the air. And understand that, yes, it takes quite a team and a system to support that thing in the air. You actually do need a business to support the revenue that's being brought in. And when you are bringing the revenue in, see the 2 tiers that are most easy for you to actually create, right? That is one of the easiest ways to double your business. Just have a second tier. 20% is going to buy it, maybe. But even if they don't, you're going to be able to double your company and double the revenue faster than anything else. There's a lot of thoughts that came in when I was sitting there on the airplane. In fact, while we were walking up to the airplane, I told over to Colton, I was like, hey, hold on, I can't talk. I have to write these things in Trello because I'm going to forget these ideas. And because they were really, really good. But it was just interesting to see across all these different business models, all the patterns all over the place, right? It's the same reason why at big events like the 10X event that's going, just by the time this went out, right, that just happened, Grant Cardone sold those floor tickets, 3,000 tickets at $10,000 each. $10,000 a ticket, 3,000 seats on the ground, okay, in that baseball stadium. The other like 29,000 tickets he sold, those are $500, maybe $1,000. You know what I mean? It's highly likely if you go do the numbers, and I haven't done the numbers, so I'm just telling you. But the amount of revenue that's brought in from that floor compared to the amount of revenue that's brought in by the rest of that customer base, because I don't think that's a straight 80-20 there, right? But it starts to be comparable. Okay, there is a category of people who is willing and eager to pay you more money. Just put a second tier inside of whatever it is you're doing. Okay, double or triple the original price. There's a second tier. Then, after that, figure out how to get that plane off the tarmac. You're losing money as long as it stays on the ground. Your system needs cash. And if the system, if the business, if the plane is on the ground, you're not going to bring any money in, right? You're just going to keep doing maintenance. You're going to keep checking oil levels. Okay, we are ready when we launch. Okay, we are ready when we launch. Okay, we are actually ready when we launch. We're like, all right, just launch. Okay, it's the fastest path to cash. Just push the button. Okay, and move forward. All right, guys, hopefully as you guys enjoyed that. I just want you to think about that. That's the biggest piece I want you guys to take away from this episode. How can I add a second tier? Number two, how can I get the thing in the air and build an 80% that keeps it in the air almost all the time? That's a big place to get to, and I'm hopefully you guys see how you can tweak those to your sales funnels. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. Please remember to rate and subscribe. Hey, I know this game can take a few tries to get the money flowing, especially the first time, right? And that can suck. I also know from experience how frustrating it can be to know your business is just a few tweaks away from your next big payday, but you don't know what tweaks to make. I've felt completely paralyzed by that in the past, and it sucks. I've been blessed to work with thousands of new and successful businesses over the last 3 years, and two things have really shocked me. One, I began noticing the pattern to success is vastly the same, but everyone's spot on the path is obviously different. Secondly, I've been shocked and overwhelmed with the number of people asking for my help and my systems and funnels in their business. Well, until now, I've never had a system and product in my own business to help you build yours. And I'm finally able to be public about all this. If you'd like my help to build your offer, sales message, funnel, and even your content machine, go to myofferlab.com. The path to online and offline success is 80% the same regardless of the product, price point, or industry. And it works if you're new or already a killer in business. You can get more details on how to get my personal attention and frameworks in your own business by going to myofferlab.com. In-person classes are limited to 60 people each, and frankly, I can only do about 2 of these a year. Get more details and even jump on the phone with us for free at myofferlab.com.